On this section, we're going to take a look at 8.2, Part 3B, where we're going to create an expense section for our budget. And specifically, we're going to be taking a look at all of the expenses that we're going to incur while attending our chosen school or apprenticeship program. So at this point, we don't have a full-time job. We're just looking into our expenses. So you might have a budget set up something like this. We've already talked about income, and now we're going to be looking at the expenses, and those are going to be divided up into two categories, which we'll title needs and wants. So needs are absolutely necessary things. You need accommodations or living space. You definitely need food and clothing. You're likely going to need some kind of transportation, whether that involves public transportation or purchasing a car. You need to spend money on books for school and those kinds of things. Wants are extra things that if you really had to, you could live without. So those might be things like television, or high-speed internet access. Now, depending on your program, that may be a need or it may be a want. Maybe entertainment, right? Eating out, buying meals away from home, and those kinds of things. And you're going to need to put a lot of thought into those things, because a lot of the things that we take for granted, when you're paying for them on your own, they may turn into wants instead of needs. So on your handout, you've got a rather lengthy email address here. So this is part of the Ministry of Training Colleges and Universities, and you could just go to that web page and do a search for college expenses, and you will see this page come up right here. And it breaks it down into all of the different kinds of expenses that you can expect to incur. So the application fee you should be familiar with right now. It costs money just to apply to the college. That's just a one-time fee. Let's take a look at tuition fees here. And these fees definitely vary from school to school and program to program. University fees are different from college fees and apprenticeship fees. If we just take a look here, on average, fees for 2 terms of a college, which is what you typically would do in a year, works out to about $1,900. For a university program, it's a little bit more than double that, about $4,200. If you have a specific school in mind, you can take a look at this information here, and it will give you the actual costs. So now you're going to come back to your budget. Now, keep in mind, if you're spending $1,900 and this is your monthly budget and you plan to pay that off over the 8 months that you're at school, we could enter in $1,900. Let's make it a nicer number, $2,000 tuition, and we'll divide that by 8. So that's going to work out to $250 per month towards tuition. And there's lots of different fees listed here. For instance, in addition to your tuition, you may be charged some kind of student fee that goes towards fitness, athletic facilities, or library facilities and things like that. There may be co-op fees if you're in a co-op program. So again, you can get more specific information about your individual program. You should expect to spend about $1,000 per year for books and school supplies, especially if you're in a more hands-on type of program. So maybe something like architecture, medicine, maybe certain trades. You're going to need some more expensive equipment, and your cost could be higher than this. But if we go with $1,000 per year guideline, if we approximate $1,000 per year for books, again, I'm going to take that $1,000 and I'm going to divide it over 8 months that we're in school for, approximately $125. We've talked about living conditions already. If you choose to stay in residence, then you've got some options. You've got private rooms, you've got rooms that are shared with another student where you have a roommate. Some residences have kitchen facilities where you can make your own meals, others you want a meal plan. So here is a ballpark figure. 2 terms in a student residence could be anywhere between $4,500 to $6,000. And then you're going to have, if you want, internet or phone on top of that as well. So that would be, we'll call it residence, and $6,000 for the year divided by 8 months. Under the wants, so these are things like cell phone, and you can enter in, whatever amount it is that you spend per month on that. Maybe you rent an apartment and you and your roommates go in on the cable and you spend $20 each on that. And any other expenses, things like entertainment, things like eating meals out, and those kinds of, maybe perhaps a vacation, you go away for spring break, those are all optional expenses. So you're definitely going to need to put a lot of thought into this section, because there are going to be some expenses that you don't think about because they're not a regular occurrence. Maybe they come up every once in a while. For instance, maybe you've got your car and you definitely have a monthly car payment and insurance payment, but from time to time you may need to do some repairs, you may need to do some maintenance. So you would, just like we did with these other items, take the annual amount that you would spend on those things and divide it to convert it to a monthly amount. Your budget should be the amount that you're spending per month, not per year.